she needs to learn. But locked doors too? Was this really just punishment?
The heat hit me before I even saw her. It wasn't just warm, it was suffocating. The kind of heat that sticks to your skin, crawls into your lungs, and makes every breath feel heavier than the last. Have you ever opened your car door in the summer and felt that blast of trapped air, that instant burning wave? Now imagine being trapped inside it. That's what I saw. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. I had just pulled into the grocery store parking lot, squinting against the glare, bouncing off rows of windshields. It was one of those afternoons where the air itself looked distorted, rippling above the asphalt like the ground was melting. And then I saw my car. At first, nothing seemed wrong. It was just there, parked crookedly in the sun, engine off. But something felt off. I don't know how to explain it. It was like my body knew before my mind could catch up. Then I saw movement. A small hand pressing weakly against the inside of the back window. My heart didn't just drop, it stopped. Lily? I didn't even remember getting out of my car. 1 second I was sitting there, the next I was running keys, still in the ignition, door wide open behind me. Lily! She was inside. My 6-year-old daughter. Windows closed tight. No air, no movement except for the faint, desperate motion of her arms. Her face was red, too red. Her hair was plastered to her forehead with sweat. Her mouth was open like she was trying to cry, but even that looked weak. Wrong. Everything about it was wrong. I grabbed the handle. Pulled. Locked. I yanked harder. Again. Again. Nothing. Lily, baby, can you hear me? I slammed my palm against the glass. It's Mommy, open the door. But she couldn't. Her little hand slid against the inside of the window, leaving streaks of sweat. She tried to reach the handle, but her movements were slow, sluggish, like she was fading. No, 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 no. I circled the car, frantic. Front door, locked. Back door, locked. Every door sealed, like a cage. Why is it locked? I muttered, my voice shaking, rising. Why are you in there? And then the thought hit me. Daniel. He had taken her out earlier. Grocery shopping. Just the two of them. So where was he? I spun around, scanning the parking lot. Rows of cars, strangers walking, shopping carts clattering. And then I saw him walking away from the car. Slow, casual, like nothing in the world was wrong. He had a bag in one hand, his posture relaxed, no urgency, no panic. Just walking. Daniel! I screamed, my voice cracking so hard it hurt. Daniel, what are you doing? He didn't stop right away. Didn't run. Didn't drop the bags. He just kept walking for another second, maybe 2. And in that moment, something cold slipped into my chest. Because this didn't look like a mistake. This didn't look like someone who forgot. This looked like someone who chose. I turned back to Lily. Her crying had changed. Quieter now. Weaker. Her hand, still pressed against the glass, slowly slid down. Stay with me, I whispered, my voice trembling as I pressed my forehead against the window. Lily, look at Mommy. Stay with me. But her eyes, they were starting to lose focus. And suddenly, nothing else mattered. Not the heat. Not the people staring. Not even Daniel. Just one terrifying thought, repeating over and over in my mind. How long had she been in there? And worse, how much time did she have left? This wasn't the first time something felt off. That thought hit me as I stood there, pounding helplessly against the glass, watching my daughter struggle for air. Because moments like this, they don't just appear out of nowhere. They build, quietly, subtly, piece by piece, until one day, you're standing in a parking lot, realizing you missed something you shouldn't have. And suddenly, every memory starts to rearrange itself. Daniel hadn't always been like this. When we met 10 years ago, he was steady, calm. The kind of man who didn't raise his voice, didn't lose control. I used to think that made him safe. Predictable. Reliable. But over the past year, something shifted. It started small. Little comments. You're too soft on her, Naomi. She cries because you let her. She needs to learn how the world actually works. At first, I brushed it off. Parenting differences, right? Every couple has them. But then it escalated. There was the time he left Lily alone in the backyard. Just 5 minutes, he said. Except it wasn't 5 minutes. It was closer to 20. I found her sitting by the fence, knees pulled to her chest, eyes wide like she'd been holding in fear for far too long. She's fine, Daniel had shrugged when I confronted him. You worry too much. Then there was the grocery store incident. Not today, another day. He'd walked ahead, faster than usual, leaving Lily struggling to keep up with her little legs. When she tripped, he didn't pick her up right away. She has to learn to get back up on her own, he said, watching her from a distance. Watching. That's what he did more and more. Observed instead of helped. Measured instead of comforted. And every time I questioned it, he turned it back on me. You're raising her to be weak. Those words stuck. Even now, as I stood outside that car, watching my daughter fade, they echoed in my head like something poisonous. Because earlier that morning, we had argued, not a small disagreement, a real one. You don't get to decide what kind of person she becomes by putting her through things like that. I had snapped, standing in the kitchen while Lily colored quietly at the table. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He never did. That's exactly how you shape who she becomes, he replied calmly. Pressure reveals character. She's 6, Daniel. She's learning. I remember the way he looked at me then. Not angry. Not emotional. Just certain. And that was worse. Because there was no room for doubt in his eyes. No hesitation. Just belief. Later, when he offered to take Lily grocery shopping, it almost felt like a peace offering. Give you a break, he said. I hesitated. I don't know why, I can't fully explain it, but something in my chest tightened. Still, I let them go. He even texted me about 30 minutes ago. We're almost done. Normal, casual, nothing strange. So why? Why was she still in the car? Why was the engine off? And why, out of everything that didn't make sense, was Daniel walking away from her instead of toward her? I slammed my hand against the glass again, harder this time. Lily! Stay with me, baby, stay with me. Her head tilted slightly. Too slowly. Her movements weren't just weak now, they were fading. Like her body was starting to give up. And that's when it hit me. Not as a thought. Not as a question. But as something cold and undeniable. This wasn't forgetfulness. This wasn't distraction. This wasn't an accident. This was a decision. And I had just realized it at the worst possible moment. I started counting the seconds because no one else seemed to understand how fast she was slipping away. 1, 2, 3. That's how long Lily's hand stayed pressed against the glass before it slid down another inch. Help! Somebody help me! My voice tore through the parking lot, sharp and desperate. Heads turned, doors paused mid-close, a shopping cart tipped slightly as someone stopped pushing it. But it still wasn't fast enough. Nothing was fast enough. There's a child in here. She's not breathing right, someone call 911. A woman fumbled with her phone. A man stepped closer, squinting into the car. Another voice somewhere behind me said, "We need to break the window." Yes! I snapped, turning toward them. Please do something! And then, Naomi. His voice, calm, controlled, too calm. I turned so fast it made me dizzy. Daniel was finally walking toward us, but there was still no urgency in his steps, no panic in his face, just that same steady expression, like he was approaching a minor inconvenience instead of this. Unlock the door! I shouted, rushing toward him. Now! He didn't answer immediately. Didn't rush. Didn't even reach for his keys. Instead, he looked past me, at the car, at Lily. And for a split second, something unreadable flickered in his eyes. Then he said it. She needs to learn. The words didn't just land. They cut. What? I whispered. Like maybe I heard him wrong. Like maybe my brain refused to process something that cruel. She needs to learn, he repeated, a little firmer this time. You can't keep shielding her from everything. Behind me, someone muttered, "Is this guy serious?" My chest tightened so hard it felt like it might collapse inward. She's 6, Daniel, I screamed, grabbing his arm. She's overheating. She's not responding. Unlock the car. She'll be fine. Fine. The word echoed in my head like something broken. I turned back to the car. Lily wasn't pounding on the window anymore. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even looking at me. Her head had slumped slightly to the side. No, Lily, look at me. Stay awake. She's passing out, someone shouted behind me. That's when everything snapped. A man, tall, broad-shouldered, maybe early 40s, pushed through the small crowd forming around us. I've got something, he said quickly, already moving. He ran to his truck, yanked the door open, and came back holding a tire iron. Relief hit me so fast it almost knocked me off balance. Yes, please break it. He didn't hesitate. Didn't question. He stepped up to the window, gripping the metal tight, positioning himself. And suddenly, wait. Daniel stepped forward. Not toward the car. Toward the man. Don't damage the vehicle, he said sharply, reaching out as if to stop him. For a second, no one moved. No one spoke. Because what he had just said didn't make sense. Not here. Not now. What is wrong with you? I yelled, shoving his arm away. That's your daughter in there. The man with the tire iron didn't argue. Didn't even look at Daniel again. He just raised the tool. The sunlight caught the metal for a brief, blinding second. Everything slowed. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Lily didn't move. Daniel reached forward. Don't. And then the tire iron came down. The sound of shattering glass was louder than anything else, and somehow still not loud enough. It cracked through the air sharp, violent, final. For a split second, everything froze. Then chaos rushed in. The window exploded inward, fragments scattering across the seat, the dashboard, the pavement below. A wave of trapped heat burst out of the car like it had been waiting thick, suffocating, unbearable. I didn't hesitate. I reached in. Lily baby, I've got you. I've got you. Her skin, it was burning. Not warm, not hot, burning. Like the heat had seeped into her, settled there. Her body was limp as I pulled her out, her head falling against my shoulder in a way that made something inside me twist violently. No, stay with me, I whispered, dropping to my knees on the asphalt, cradling her against me. Her eyes were half open, but they weren't seeing me. Lily, can you hear me? No response. Her lips were dry, slightly parted, her breathing shallow, uneven. She's not responsive, someone shouted. Call 911, what's the ETA? I already did, they're coming. The world around me blurred into noise. Voices. Footsteps. Panic. But all I could focus on was her. Stay with me, I repeated over and over, rocking slightly, like I could will her back just by holding her tighter. You're okay, Mommy's here. But she wasn't okay. I could feel it. The way her body didn't react. The way her fingers didn't grip mine like they always did. And then, ma'am, lay her flat, let me see. A man knelt beside me, steady, focused. He gently guided Lily from my arms, placing her carefully on the ground. I'm trained, just give me space. I didn't want to let go, but I did, because I had to. He checked her pulse, her breathing. Come on, kid, he muttered under his breath, adjusting her position, trying to help her airway. I looked up, and that's when I saw him, Daniel, standing a few feet away. Not rushing, not kneeling, not helping, just watching. His arms hung loosely at his sides, his face unreadable, detached. Like this wasn't happening to him. Like Lily wasn't his daughter. Something cold settled in my chest again, but this time, it wasn't confusion. It was clarity. Sirens. Distant at first, then louder. Closer. The sound cut through everything, slicing the moment open. They're here, someone called out. Relief hit, but it was tangled with something else. Fear. Because what if they were too late? The ambulance pulled in fast, tires screeching slightly as it stopped. Paramedics jumped out, moving with urgency that finally matched what I'd been feeling all along. What do we have? One of them asked, already kneeling beside Lily. 6-year-old female, possible heat stroke, the man beside her responded quickly. They took over immediately. Cooling packs, oxygen, rapid, practice movements. "Stay with us, sweetheart," one of them said firmly. I hovered nearby, shaking, my hands trembling uncontrollably. "Is she going to be okay?" I asked, my voice barely holding together. No answer. Not yet. Behind me, another set of footsteps approached. Heavier. Slower. Police. "Who's the parent?" an officer asked. I turned, my voice cracking. "I am her mother, please. Just..." But his attention shifted. Past me. Toward Daniel. "Sir," the officer said, his tone changing sharper now. "Can you explain what happened here?" The air shifted. Everything seemed to narrow down to that one moment. That one question. Daniel looked at the officer. Then at the car. Then, briefly, at Lily. And for the first time, he hesitated. "Sir, did you knowingly leave your child in that vehicle?" The question hung in the air like something heavy, final, inescapable. For a moment, Daniel didn't answer. Not immediately. And in that pause, just a few seconds, maybe less, everything seemed to crystallize. The heat, the broken glass, the sound of the ambulance doors slamming shut behind me as they lifted Lily inside. My entire world narrowed down to his response. Because whatever he said next would define everything. Yes. The word came out flat, controlled. No panic, no regret, just certainty. The officer's expression shifted almost instantly. "You're saying you intentionally left your 6-year-old daughter locked in a car in this heat?" Daniel nodded once, like he was confirming something routine. "She needs to learn consequences. Naomi coddles her. She doesn't understand discomfort." I felt something inside me snap. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just break. "That's not discomfort," I shouted, my voice raw as I stepped toward him. "That's danger. She could have died." "She didn't," he replied calmly. Those 2 words. Cold. Detached. Like the outcome was all that mattered, not the risk, not the suffering, not the fact that we had come terrifyingly close to losing her. The officer stepped between us slightly, his attention fully on Daniel now. "How long was she in the car?" Daniel shrugged faintly. "Around 20 minutes. 20 minutes in that heat. In a sealed car, every second of it replayed in my mind, the way her hand slid down the glass, the way her eyes lost focus. And suddenly, I couldn't breathe. The officer's tone hardened. "Sir, turn around and place your hands behind your back." That's when it became real. Not just a nightmare. Not just a moment. Consequences. Daniel didn't resist. He didn't argue. He simply complied, turning around as the officer cuffed him. Around us, the crowd murmured, some angry, some stunned. He just left her. I heard him. He said it was a lesson. Someone had recorded it. I saw a phone still raised, capturing everything. And Daniel? He didn't look at me. Not once. Logical payoff, what actually happened. The truth unfolded quickly after that. Witnesses gave statements. Multiple people confirmed the same sequence. Daniel had parked the car, turned off the engine, locked the doors, and walked away, leaving Lily inside intentionally. He hadn't forgotten. He hadn't been distracted. He had made a decision. Even worse, police later confirmed that he had activated the child safety locks, ensuring Lily couldn't open the doors from the inside. There was no accident in this. No misunderstanding. Every detail pointed to intent. Emotional payoff, Naomi and Lily. At the hospital, time stretched in a way I had never experienced before. Every second felt unstable, uncertain. I sat in a stiff chair, my hands still shaking, replaying everything over and over again. What if I had been 5 minutes later? What if no one had helped? What if... Mommy... The voice was faint, weak, but it was there. I turned so fast it made my head spin. Lily. Her eyes were open, barely but open. "I'm here," I whispered immediately, rushing to her side, gripping her hand gently. "I'm right here, baby." Her fingers twitched against mine. And just like that, everything I had been holding back broke loose. Tears, relief, fear, rage. All of it. "You're okay," I kept repeating, even though my voice shook. "You're okay." The doctor later explained it clearly. Severe heat exhaustion, dangerously close to full heat stroke. Another 10 minutes, maybe less, and the outcome could have been very different. That sentence stayed with me because it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't exaggerated, it was clinical, real. Consequence, payoff, what happened after. Daniel was charged that same day. Child endangerment, reckless conduct. The case moved faster than I expected. Because there was evidence, clear evidence, witness testimonies, video footage from bystanders, even partial surveillance from the parking lot, and Daniel's own admission. Public reaction followed just as quickly. The video spread online. People saw it the way he stood there, the way he tried to stop the window from being broken, the words he said. There was no controlling the narrative. His workplace suspended him within days. Friends stopped calling. Even some of his own family distanced themselves, unable or unwilling to defend what he had done. As for me, I filed for emergency custody immediately, and it was granted, no hesitation. No complications. A protective order followed shortly after. In court, Daniel remained consistent. Calm, certain, unapologetic. He argued that his actions were disciplinary, that he was preparing Lily for real-world conditions. But the judge didn't see it that way. Not even close. His parental rights were suspended pending further evaluation, and the criminal charges moved forward. The outcome was inevitable. Because this wasn't a gray area, it was a line and he had crossed it completely. Final resolution moment. Weeks passed. Then months. Life didn't go back to normal. It changed. Quietly. Permanently. Lily recovered physically, but there were moments. Small ones. Subtle ones. She didn't like sitting in the car alone anymore. Even for a second. Even with the door open. So I adapted. I always checked the back seat. Always opened her door myself. Always made sure she stepped out first. Every single time. One afternoon, not long after everything settled, we stood in the driveway. The sun was out, but it didn't feel the same anymore. "Can I get out by myself?" Lily asked softly from the back seat. I paused, then nodded. "Of course." I unlocked the door, stepped back, and watched carefully as she pushed it open, climbed out, and turned to look at me. Safe, present, here. I closed the door gently behind her. Checked it once. Then again, not out of fear, out of certainty, because some lessons don't come from words. They come from moments that change everything. I reached for her hand. She took it without hesitation. And as we walked toward the house, there was only one thought left in my mind. Clear, steady, final. This time, I was there.
Would you have trusted him again, or did Naomi realize the truth too late?